Hello, friends. Today we discuss a realistic short story, The Childless One, written by Jai Nimbkar, who was born and brought up in Pune. She is a granddaughter of late Maharshi Karve. Her mother and her younger sister are well known Marathi writers. She is one of the dominant feminist writers who exposes feminism in her works. She tries to portray woman in the search of her individual identity, who struggles with all hurdles and the rigidity of social system. She has also written a wonderful novel named Temporary Answer in 1974. The Childless One is about a woman named Radha who has married with Shripati. Shripati's mom is very strict-minded woman. The aunt of Shripati is also lives with them, but she is more kind-hearted than the mother-in-law. Radha did not live with her parents because her mom is dead and her father she doesn't see. It simply means that Radha came without dowry. She was poor and she already lost her mother. How she could arrange the amount of dowry? There was no payment from her side. The mother-in-law did not like Radha. She was only going to show a little bit consideration because Radha is pregnant. She knew that Radha was carrying her grandchild, so a little consideration was needed from her side. Radha enjoyed the consideration from her mother-in-law because at other times she had always been a cold-hearted woman towards Radha. So she could do nothing but accept and enjoy this temporary period of consideration. Shripati knew that his mother and his wife did not like each other, but he believed that everything will be smooth and normal. It is his perspective. He also convinced her to Radha. He also convinced Radha by saying, I quote, don't worry so much, Radha. I will come and see you whenever I can. You will be all right. Unquote. When it was the time that Radha is going to give birth to her child, but there was no signs for birth to be happening. So they said that sometimes it takes longer when it is a baby, when it is a boy for the birth to happen. They happily waited in hopes of the birth taking place soon. But when the 9 months had passed and now the 10th month was going on, they had at this time called an old lady who knew a little more about this than they did themselves. When Shripati came home, he asked his wife, had not seen brought to see a doctor in Songaon. He felt like that they had not done enough for his wife, who was overdue, bloated, and in pain. So he took Radha to see a doctor. Doctor examined her very carefully and with a very serious expression he told Shripati that there was no baby in his wife's stomach. There was no baby, but there was definitely something in there. There is a big tumor growing inside her stomach. A big tumor which could have been removed a long time ago, which means that the pains she had could have been prevented if they if they had just taken her to see a doctor a long time ago. I was very shocking. It was very shocking news for Sripati, but he was helpless. The tumor then removed, and they came back home without no baby. Radha's mother-in-law was not pleased with this, and she wanted her son Sripati to marry another woman. Sripati decided to go against Radha, just like his mother wanted. She felt alienated again, but finally the marriage took place. Then it happened as the mother in law wanted to be, and finally she got the dowry. After this incident, Radha decided to leave house and her husband permanently. Now she felt now she left to a Vasti, which is a small village. Here she told everyone about what had happened to her and with her children, with her child. Each and every small detail which has which has created her a reputation as a mad woman. One day she was talking with some people from Vasti and they teased her about Sripati. Years later, one fine morning, Sripati suddenly came to see her. They both started their conversation politely, but later ended in a discussion. And because of this stormy discussion, Sripati was about to leave when Radha then said that she had something to show him. She called out the name Mahadya, and a small, dirty boy came out. Sripati wanted to know whom this was, and Radha answered, I quote, he is my son, unquote. Sripati was so angry and asked if she had no shame and asked whose son he was. She answered that he definitely was not yours. Radha ended the conversation between them by saying, I quote again, when you are going to marry again, Sripati, how many times will you marry before you find out that you will never have any children? Unquote. Sripati left and Radha could focus on herself and her son and live a happier life than she had ever lived. It is a very interesting short story written by Jai Nimbkar.